Hey, welcome to BACKtalk, the premier podcast from Successful Black Parenting Magazine. We feature in-depth conversation and expert insights on crucial topics for Black families. We are ranked as one of the top 4 Black family podcasts on FeedSpot. I'm your host, Janice Robinson Celeste. Now, parents, are you overwhelmed by stress and you need support now, like right now? What if we could help you change all of that? Stay with us to the end of the show and learn how to lighten the load and help your family to thrive.
This is BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, the most listened to podcast for parents by parents.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, your go-to podcast talk show for parents. Now, I need a little favor from all of you fabulous listeners out there. You go ahead and spread the word about our show, share it, bring people in. We are live, which means you can post questions under this video, and we will answer your questions live on air, but you have to do it early. Tell your friends to shout it out to all of your followers because sharing is truly caring. And don't forget to use hashtag BACKtalk when you post. And let's get into today's show. Today, we are joined by Shawna Wells, Senior VP at the 7Gen Legacy Group and the author of B is for Black Brilliance, baby. Now, she has 20 years of experience as an educator, diversity leader. She's here to help us understand the power of community in tackling parental stress and empowering families to thrive. So welcome, Shawna.
Thanks, Janice. Great to see you.
Same here. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself so they know who you are and what you do?
I can. First and foremost, I'm a mom of 2 incredible humans who you may hear in the background and give us a special treat. They're 2 and 7. I'm a friend, I'm a parent, and I run 2 incredible companies that are about us changing the way we connect, create community, and build for the next generation. And I'm a proud Philadelphia native, but live in Las Vegas. So you can't take the Philly out of the girl. So I'm a proud 76ers fan.
I know. I'm Philly. I'm all Philly. Philly Eagles. I'm Philly. Sixers. Just do it.
Just do it. That is true. They just have to do it. That is what they have to do. It's just do it. But yes, I'm glad to be here, Janice. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for the Philly connection. As I say, every time I see Will Smith somewhere, and I have seen him several times, where's Philly in the house?
It's funny you say that because Men, another proud Philly group, has a show out here, and I pretend like we're friends because we're both from Philly. I'm like, yes. We know each other because, the Philly roots run deep. So
exactly. We might as well be family, right? That's what I told them anyway. Anyway, let's talk about the stress because there was a new report that came out that said, parents are under a lot of stress. And we were like, duh, but with the economy, with the high cost of daycare, it's not just about money. It's just, we're just overwhelmed at work. They want more for less. We're tired. Right? We're just tired. So let's talk about that stress a little bit and what parents are going through. Can you touch on that?
Yes. I love that you said duh, right? Because the study is really just confirming what we already knew, what we're all already feeling. It's helpful to have affirmation there. And I would throw in something different than the study doesn't name, is that we are in the generation of parents and caregivers that are creating new models for how we build real conversation and connection with our children and our families, while also holding down major responsibilities at work, in service, as friends. The world is full of possibilities now that we are working to choose between. And that in itself is stressful. And so we have so many things going on that to have to narrow down, I need time for my kids, I need time for my partner if we choose to partner. I need time for my friends. I need time to be able to make an impact in the world. I need time to drink enough water and to work out, right? There's all these things that we should do. Plus, there's an old blueprint from the people who raised us. The last generation just had a different set of circumstances. And so as I think about this stress, I really I think we're stuck between two generations trying to figure out what is ours to hold.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because you see on social media all the time, well, everywhere from Instagram, TikTok, oh, this is what you need to do to be successful. This is what you need to do to be, good. Oh, God forbid. No, I don't want to say forbid because, more power to her. There's
Yeah.
a wonderful, beautiful model out there. I think you know who I'm about to talk about. And she cooks everything from scratch. And I say scratch, I mean frosted flakes. Okay. She makes her own. Okay. From scratch because her husband probably takes all day, but she makes her own from every ingredient that she can to make it wholesome. Like we're back on Little House on the Prairie back then. Some of y'all don't know that reference, the Little House on the Prairie. And like I'm looking like I wish I could do that, but who has all day to make peanut butter and then to make their own jelly to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich plus the bread? I'm sorry,
Right.
everything. Like so you look at that and you're like, are you kidding me? I barely have time to put on makeup.
Right. Right. Or to even eat my own, one of the things as I was a principal, we would joke about as a group of principals is we eat our food one-handed because we're trying to move through and do all that. We're talking to people with the other hand. We're trying to move through and do all the things. And so all of these incredible habits that we've built over time to not eat, to not take care of ourselves as parents, that also accumulates as stress, right? The body keeps score. And so here we are in this reality where we are working to sort what it means to live a fulfilled life alongside the kids we're raising who are actually watching us in relationship to what you're talking about, this like having to hold it all.
Right. Oh, you said the body keeps track. Is that what you said? The body keeps count? What that is scary. So yeah, when you think about it, it does not, that stress doesn't go away. I never really thought about it like that.
It doesn't. We really borrow against our future selves, right? And then all the work we're doing to raise our children to be incredible humans, we want to see it come to fruition, right? We want to be able to see them. And if we're not careful about the stress, and as it accumulates, we won't be able to see that. And so as we start to think about how do we create a community for ourselves and a community for our children, it's really important to think about how we care for ourselves first so that we can have enough to give for a lifetime.
Right. And you said, we eat one-handed. I'm like, we inhale our food. That's what we do. We don't even, we're trying to get to the next thing. So what kind of things should parents be doing? And, I had asked you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your organization and how does that play into that?
Yes. So we founded B is for Black Brilliance in 2020, which feels like maybe 20 years ago for all of us, right? Because those were times we were living in. And when we did it on behalf of parents and caregivers. And we use the term caregivers intentionally because there are so many people caring for our children, and distancing ourselves from that would be strange, especially as Black people who I think we build love in community. And so the first thing is to get in touch with ourselves. And we start every meeting that we have with our caregiver community with a deep breath. We ask them to say, I am brilliant. And then we ask them to dream. And the feedback we get often is, I don't really have time to dream. And
wow.
That's like, well, we had, like what? Your dreams are valid. And so to stuff that away is actually a very stressful thing. To just wake up in the morning, brush your teeth, get going, get in the car, maybe sip some coffee on the way, cross your fingers, hope you don't spill some coffee on yourselves. Those are all very stressful things that disable the ability to dream. And so part of it is making space in your day to start at a slower pace, even if that means getting up 5 minutes early. And that's painful for me to say out loud, to just hear the silence. You're like 5 minutes. Like
I'm trying to hit snooze 3 times. Okay, like snooze, boop, snooze again, boop, 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 boop. No, I'm not trying to get up 5 minutes early. Okay.
I know. I even keep my phone across the room, so I have to get up. I'm like, we cannot hit snooze. But it is important to get in touch with yourself, because if you don't, then you're talking to your kids trying to talk to yourself, and that never works. And so tip 1 is really to create space for you to breathe, remind yourself you're brilliant and you're here, and that you have choice over how you get to parent today, how you get to live today, how you get to go to work today. And that is something we have to work to reclaim, I think, as Black parents and as Black humans, is that our ancestors gave us the ability to choose. And it may not always feel like that. And we got to remind ourselves that there's actually a lot of choice in our lives. So that's tip one.
Well, tip one is hard because I'm that type of parent. I'm also a grandparent. Be sitting there at night with all the greatest intentions in my bed. So I'm staring at the ceiling like, tomorrow I'm gonna drink more water. Tomorrow I'm gonna get up. I'm gonna get an hour early. I gotta write a business plan. I'm gonna get up an hour early every day. I'm going to watch what I eat. Make sure I take my vitamins. Get up in the morning. I'm like, dang, I forgot about the next day. I'm like, oh, I gotta do better. I forgot about those things. It's gone. I'm like,
I know.
I dreamt it away. So.
I know. And like, we could actually do this right now, right? So if you take all of it away, right, just for a second, and put your hand on your heart and your hand on your belly, and I want you to do this with me.
Okay, I'm doing it. Go ahead. You can't see my belly.
I can't.
Go ahead.
I know it. And you just take a moment to rock a little bit, scientifically rocking this way.
Oh, like this. The soothing rock. Yeah.
Yeah, soothing. And not the Millie rock, the soothing rock. And then just let yourself settle at center, wherever center is for you. Mm-hmm. And sometimes center is a little forward and sometimes a little back. It's just like give yourself and let your body just land. And now let your feet hit the ground.
Okay.
And stop thinking about if it's perfect or not. It's great the way you're doing it. And now take a deep breath in and hold it and then let it out.
Okay. You all doing that with us out there?
I hope they are. And then do it one more time. Breathe in. Breathe out. And from this spot, notice how it feels. Just say the words as loud or as soft as you want. I like to say it loud. Say, I am brilliant.
I am brilliant.
And then say it again.
I am brilliant. Say.
I can't.
I am brilliant. I am brilliant. I am brilliant. You hear that, guys out there? I'm brilliant. I am brilliant. Just so you know, I know. Just wait for the rest of the world now.
We all know.
I'm brilliant.
Listening in offices yelling, I am brilliant.
I am brilliant. There we go. We said it. No, that's great. You're a mind reader too. Talking about, don't worry if you do it right. Oh yeah, okay. I'm like, am I doing this right? Okay.
Right. That's what it takes. That was 1.5 minutes.
That was amazing. And yeah, it did feel good. It felt good. Guys, you should try that. If you didn't get it, if you didn't catch it, rewind it later and check it out. This is always available for a replay. So let's talk about the village a little bit because, most of us feel like we're in this world as a silo. We're by ourselves. We're doing everything. If we're lucky enough to have a partner, we have them helping us out. But there are people that are also feeling just even alone with a partner. So like, what do we do? Like, we're doing everything. And I mean, there's only so much your kids can do to help out. And, when they help out, you gotta go behind them to make sure they're doing it right. And then you basically ended up doing it anyway because it's the training. It's like, it's like with anything when you're training someone, you gotta pretty much put in the work. So how can parents get to support with community? You talk about village and community in this fast-paced world that we're in.
It's moving so fast. I was giggling when you said you got to go behind them. My son this morning I asked him to put the socks in the laundry basket. He put them in the sink, and so I was like, that's
the fun thing. Until I had a boy in my house, I never had socks on the table before. I had 3 girls, never had that issue. Something about boys and socks. That's a boy thing. You'd be like,
okay. All right.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean the gender stereotype, but I swear to God, I have 3 girls. I've never had that issue before. So anyway, go ahead.
There's something to it. There's something to it. Sock thing. Somebody's gonna write a paper on it.
That's all right. Don't come get on here and start getting on my case about gender typing. Okay, so, I'm just telling you my experience. All right.
We're only talking about socks right now.
Yeah.
Well, it is important what we're doing right now, right? We're laughing about the trends and things in our household that could be on any given day the thing that sets you off, right? Like the thing that's like, if I see one more sock, I'm going to lose my mind. But to be able to have a community to say, I just did this and this happened, and for them to be like, yeah, girl, I know, and to laugh about it is one way to reduce stress. If we can laugh and smile at what life actually is, which is a series of thresholds we pass through and a series of tensions we encounter. If we can get together in community and talk about that, it just makes it feel easier. And so then the question is, how do you do that? Well, there's a new study out that says that we're more isolated than we've ever been. I don't think that's surprising to anybody. And that we're actually choosing to do that, that we're choosing to be more homebodies with working from home, right?
Yeah.
And money, right? It costs to be out with friends and those types of things. So we're making the choice to be in our own spaces. So then the question becomes, well, how do we get intentional with the people who give us energy? And I think what happens sometimes, I'm guilty of this, is that I have friends from my past, right? That I feel obligation to hang out with, but they suck my energy sometimes, right? We're not going to,
yeah.
But when they're
yes,
right, like they may know who they are, they may not. But when they suck the energy away, then you have to figure out how to either set a boundary around that or replace the energy with something that truly brings you energy. So finding people who are doing the same thing that you're doing, raising Black and brilliant humans, is of utmost importance, and not everyone's doing that. And so the way that I think about it, we think about it at BS for Black Brilliance, is how can we build a community of caregivers that are invested in fueling the next generation? Because that's a mindset, that's a skill set, it's a will set, it's a habit set. That is a way of being in the world that you're going to need a crew to be with you on that. And then to shed the people who are not doing that in your life, and to be very intentional about that. Both of those things are so hard. And we try to make it easier at BS for Black Brilliance by bringing the community to you, so you don't have to do so much work to find commonality or find common space. So one small way we do that is we ask everyone to share a win for the week and a joke. And we find that those two things really create commonality. And once you have that, then you can start to think about, and for my child, I am dreaming this. And for me, I'm dreaming this. And it really is rooted in the art of connecting and conversation.
So is this online or is this in person? Because one of the questions I was going to ask you, like just real talk, it's hard out here to even make friends these days.
It's
like,
so
and you know, so many people that want either something from you or they're just not trustworthy. And you can't just go up to people and be like, hey, you want to be my friend? You know, it just doesn't work that way. Not anymore. Anyway, we don't even know our neighbors. So your community is online?
Yes, we have an online community that we also do smaller group settings with people who are inside the community. We'll go live to a city. So we're about to go live to Detroit in November with members of our community to see them in person. We'll spend the day with them doing exercises and activities that will help connect them with their kids, but also connect them with each other. And yes, we have our community is called Legacy of Liberation. You can find it on our website. And we ask parents if they want to raise Black and brilliant humans. If you want to be part of this idea of reclaiming Black brilliance, we want you to be part of the community. And it comes to you. So we have it in the form of an app. We have it in the form of online community. And then we're always in the community hanging out, reading books together, talking about what's coming up. So we have a book club coming up soon to just read a picture book and have a conversation about how we might talk with our kids about that. So it's an easy way to try to connect with people who are thinking about life and parenting and caregiving in the same way you are. And then like anything, we have to do the work to build the relationship over time. But I like to call it, it's sort of a dating app for people who are excited to raise Black and brilliant humans.
That's fantastic. I love that idea. Now, some parents are under stress. They don't even realize they're under stress, right? Like we just keep going and going. And when you look from the outside in, someone can say, hey, you're always so hard on your child, or, oh, you're always yelling, or you're always just your tone, or whatever it is that, you know, they didn't even do anything wrong there. You don't even notice that your child is trying, whatever it is. It could be anything. It could be anything. like, what are some of the signs of parental stress that often go unnoticed that you've seen?
Yes, I'm so glad you asked this. So I'm going to share this in two ways. So at 7 Gen Legacy Group, the other organization that I run, we talk a lot about lineage.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what we've inherited are the gifts and the traumas from the past generations, the people who have come before us. And so I know that my grandparents gave me a lot, right? I have a lot of strength because of my grandmother in particular. I also know there's some traumas I carry forward, like anger, that I have to sort out. It's my job in this generation to start to sort out. How do I know when I'm angry? Well, it first shows up in the body, right? And so as we can get in touch with our bodies, I feel it in the back of my neck when I go like this. I'm mad, right? And so that's one sign, is that my body is first telling me, you feel it somewhere in here. And I think we downplay and you know, medicine the way it is now, we downplay our intuition around our body. So that's the first thing. Is your body acting a fool? Because if it is, you're probably stressed. The second thing is, are you quick to jump to judgment or conclusion on somebody else? So you might say, why'd you do that thing? When in reality, you caused it to happen, right? And so the sign for me is, if everybody in the airport is getting on my nerves, it's not everybody in the airport, it's me. And so part of it is taking stock and inventory of what are the things that are getting under your skin, and is there something deeper that's the problem.
Right.
So those two things combined can get you a long way. There's all sorts of other signs that we see, in particular as a principal and a teacher, being on the receiving end of seeing very loving parents who are uber stressed and just trying to figure out how to get things through. You know, it's sort of like stagnant. You just say, I can't do anymore. I can't do it. When you get to that point, you are at an optimal level of stress because you can't see possibility.
Yeah. And there's so many stressors out here in the world. Like, it's not just at home. I mean, it's on the news. It's,
Yes.
you know, it's pressures from work. It's coming from every angle. And I visualize it like the parents are like a ball right in the middle. And then all these arms from the ball, these outreach arrows that are coming in to the parent, are from all these external stressors, like I said, work, the news, what's happening to our community, not having enough money, like a living wage, you know. You look at the help wellness these days, like the jobs are not starting at a salary where you can actually thrive at all. You're going to be struggling to take a new job. A lot of times the salaries just aren't there. And you got family to raise. I don't even know how people are making it these days with multiple children, because it is so difficult. So we have all these stressors, right? Now, how do we just mitigate all of these stresses? Like, I mean, and still keep our heads on our shoulders. You're saying, you know, you gave us a great exercise earlier, but what if, you know, that's not enough?
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, part of the world we live in now is that we have to figure out how to set boundaries around what we intake, because there is a lot coming at us. We are essentially sponges, and people are collecting data on us all the time, right? And so whatever our Google search is, somebody knows about that, right? Whatever information is coming to us, we're taking it in. And so your analogy on like we're like balls out here, right? I think I would take that a step further and say we're sponges, right? We are seeing so much, hearing so much. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I'm like the noise, you know, like it feels like New York City in my head sometimes. And what I think keeps us grounded and what we see with our folks in the community is to name what we're about. And that sounds so simple, but to get into touch with what is the legacy I'm trying to leave? What does it look like, sound like, and feel like in my life? And how will I set boundaries to make sure that I'm working in alignment towards that? And one of the folks we work with said, when I first came to you, I was trying to figure out what balance looked like. Now I'm trying to figure out what alignment looks like, because alignment is what's most important. So trying to figure out what is it you care about, and then how do you design a life around that, can help mitigate a lot of the things that come to us and that we think we have to respond to, because the world has taught us that we have to be reactive, and we do in some ways. But in other ways, if we can get clear on what we want, then that can help us organize the pantry of our lives to be less about we just take whatever comes to us and more about, okay, if I can set a boundary around this, shed this, and then pick this up, it'll allow us to focus on what's most important.
Okay, no, just absolutely all great advice. But, there comes a point, a lot of times, even the best of us in the business, right? We
Yes.
get burnt out. Like, we get burnt out. And I remember just the other day, I said to someone, I'm tired. I don't want any more responsibility. I'm done. I can't take any more. I don't want any. All I want, and I tell people all the time, all I want to do is be like on a beach somewhere laughing at memes. That's my goal for life. Okay, just
Cat
laying
memes.
on the beach laughing at memes. That's all. That's my new job. Okay, so I'm like,
That's the
what,
job.
what about burnout though? Like, what happens? Like when we're burnt out? Like, when we get to that point?
Yes.
It's that you don't want to deal with anything.
Yeah. Well, I feel you on that, like I can both channel my days of burnout and channel getting to the other side. And I think what got me to the other side of burnout, and my burnout happened before I was a parent. I actually think parenting and caregiving slowed me down enough to be like, you're going to have to do something different if you want to be around for your kids. One of the first things I did was I sat down and I just took assessment on what are all the things that I think I have to do and why. And we are told from jump, get a good government job, go get your doctorate, do all those things. I know, like my grandmother was like, okay, you got your master's, so now what? And I'm like, can we just sit on the master's? Like, can we get excited about that? But what that does is it makes us chase busy, right? We wear busy as a badge. How are you? There's always two answers, busy or tired.
Oh, gosh,
Right?
you just read me. Okay.
What if we
Yes.
put it on his head and said, I'm good. I'm going to sit down today. I don't have to go to that. I'm not going to go to that thing. I'm not going to do that thing. I'm going to sit down and just rest or sleep. And so I did 3 things as I was recovering from burnout. One, I made a rest practice, which means I had to let go of a lot of things that I was told growing up that when you sit down, you're lazy, right?
Mhm.
I was like, no, when I sit down, I survive. And I got to do it. And I got to do it regularly. And I got to put some structure behind it and make it valid. And so sometimes I have to affirm myself, the best thing you can do right now, Shawna, is nothing.
Ooh, I love that. Do you hear that? The best thing you can do right now is nothing. That's helpful at times because you do feel it. No, I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. The second thing I did is I started talking about it. And I think when we talk about it, we can be in community on it. So friends that were not about contributing to my burnout, but about getting me through it were helpful to remind me to say, like, Shawna, you said that actually this thing doesn't matter. And here you are doing it because your old habits are taking over. And those are the best friends you can have, right? The ones that will be like, nah, girl, you said sit, take several seats now. And then the third thing is I reimagined what life could be. And that invested me in the longer term as opposed to the short term gains I was seeing. And naming that for myself and naming that beyond what my success at work looked like, because that's what led to my burnout, if I'm being real about it. And talking about what does it mean to live a life well lived. Being able to have that be the rising conversation in my head as opposed to someone else's version of what my successful life is going to be actually changed the way now I relate to how I spend my time.
No, I think that is a wonderful explanation. And it kind of goes with just say no and sit down. Sometimes you just say no. I want to invite people who are watching this either during a replay or if you're watching it live, you're catching it now, to just put in the comments for other parents, like what you do when you're starting to feel burnt out or you are burnt out. Like, what do you do to manage those feelings so you can come back and be, even stronger or even maintain. So I'm going to invite you to put those in the comments so that way we can help each other, right, with everything that we do. And maybe someone will find some respite in what you wrote, and I think that's important that we all support each other, even through the comments in that way. So let's talk about you said it earlier, you're a principal of a school. And so you obviously ran into a lot of stressed out parents. As a former teacher, I can relate. Um, you know, when you're in school, you also have stressed out students and parents. What are some of the things that you have seen and experienced doing that role?
Yeah. Well, I would say everyone's, on its hardest day, everyone's stressed, right? The teachers are stressed, the principal's stressed. Like it can be a really stressful thing. It can also be a beautiful thing. And the trend I'm noticing over time is that our institutions are going away, right? If you are, church is going away. If you go to church, like that's not an institution that is existing as much anymore or as consistently. My grandmother was like, Sundays we go to church. That's just not part of how we live our lives here in my family. And so school is the last standing major institution we have. And so everything is getting put into schools right now. And people are working to hold a lot. So we still work alongside schools at 7Gen. And one of the things that we often ask our school folks is, what's the legacy that you're working to leave as an organization? And how do we make sure that all of the effort that everyone's putting in, from student to parent to teacher to principal, all of that effort is going towards that legacy? And have a conversation about what you're about and what you're here to do and what is yours to do versus what is other people's to do. That helps. And I think one of the things we all have to come into contact with for our education system is that it's holding an unfair weight in our world right now. And it was never built for us. It was for white families to send their kids to school. We weren't supposed to be there. And so there are elements of school that we're going to have to do somewhere else.
That's deep. And being a principal saying that too, that means that it, you've seen it, so it's deep.
Yeah. And so just that tension is causing the system to be stressed and overwhelming sometimes for folks. And I wonder if we just said, that just is. Now let's try to make places for us to find what we need in other spots, if that would relieve some of the tensions that we feel that create the stressors.
Wow. Let me just put this up top here. You guys see, Tanya Butler, thank you for your comment. She said, I take time for myself by taking walks and I do cardio daily, and last I pray. I think that's some good advice right there. And I walk 2 miles almost every day. So, and when I'm stressed, that's what I do. I go out. If you can do that, that's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's one way. So thank you for that comment. Let's talk about B is for Black Brilliance in the book, because I loved it. So let's if you can talk to us about, you said something about the organization and how you guys meet, which I think is great. How did that come about? Tell us what it's about, where to get it, etc. All stuff. Give us everything.
All the so B is for Black Brilliance was really, I say we started in 2020, but I would say like this was something that I think I dreamed about when I was 10 years old. And part of the story is I couldn't find characters that looked like me, that felt like me, that had my life experiences in my classrooms. And my parents worked really hard to send me to a private school to keep me away from what they thought would be a harmful environment, because I was a biracial kid growing up in the outskirts of Philadelphia. And that was beautiful. What it also caused was I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me in school. And my teachers sent me on an assignment when I was in 8th grade to go to Ellis Island and find my ancestors by my name. And I remember being like, I'm not going to find my name, y'all. Like, I'm not going to be able to find my ancestry in the ways that you find yours. And that set me on a path of knowing and feeling that we needed to be able to celebrate Black brilliance differently, and inside of our schools or at home. My parents did the best they could to do that. And there weren't a lot of resources out there. And so as I became a teacher, I was constantly looking for, how can I have Black faces in my library? How can I was a reading teacher. Don't ever ask me to teach math. And I filled our school with as many books as I could, but it still wasn't enough. And even then, when I became a principal and I had all the buying power in the world, I literally couldn't get my hands on enough books or resources that had our faces. So BS for Black Brilliance has been a long time in the making. In 2020, when we founded it, here's what happened. Was right after the murder of George Floyd, which I think rocked a lot of us and affirmed a lot of what we were feeling. I needed a way to heal. And so I started to write all the Black and brilliant people that I knew in my life. I started to write their names. And then I was sharing with people, this is what I was doing. And as I was sharing, people would start to add names to the list. And as they would add names to the list, I would write the name down. Well, after weeks of doing this, I had thousands of names of people who, like, everyday people, like the postman, the chef down the street, and then names that we've all heard and care about and history is designed around. So you have the book in front of you, P is for Black Brilliance. From that list, we narrowed it down to 26 people to celebrate Black Brilliance. And the idea is that we all know the names of some common people, and we need more. And so you see in our book, obviously, some of the greats, Harriet Tubman and Frederick Douglass, but you also see people like Queen Latifah, which happens to be my favorite page in the book. And the book is designed in two ways. It's designed to help kids see the names of people who they don't often see, and to also share the story through the lens of passing on Black brilliance. And so we have two versions of the book. We have that version that you have. We also have a board book, which is like a smaller book for smaller kids. And my kids read them together. So now these names are becoming almost like a set of flashcards to know that we can affirm Black brilliance while looking at this. So then out of the book, our community asked for a product line. So now we have backpacks, lunchboxes, and pencil cases. We call it the Ancestors Collection. My daughter carries them to school. I carry them through the airport. So if you ever see me in the airport, say hello.
Okay. So you have to, if you have lunchboxes, we're working on I'm just on a side. We're working on a gift guide for the holiday right now. And we're looking for Black stuff for a gift guide, guys. So it's hooray. I love it.
Issa Rae is like, so it's just the epitome of Black brilliance, right? Because she just, her creativity, her ingenuity, she just built it over time. And there's so many examples of that in the book and in our lives. So our hope with the company is to actually have Black brilliance, not Black excellence, but Black brilliance be a part of the conversation, that actually we all come from our own set of brilliances that, frankly, without us, the world is a lot more dull. And so it's always been our Black brilliance that helps the world evolve, change, navigate. And we want to talk about it. And so we've got the book, we've got the product line, and we have the community that for caregivers to find place to talk about their brilliance and to talk about their children's brilliance. So,
and I'm just going to tell you, as a publisher, this feels so nice. And I'm all about, how things feel, texture-wise, textiles, everything. And the pages are nice and thick. And I don't have the board book, but we know what board books feel like. The pages are quality. This is a quality book. I'm going to tell this to people out there because I get books all the time. And I try to tell people that, hey, I would like to feature your book, but it needs to look like it can compete with like some of the biggest publishers out there. And not all the time can we get with a publisher, but this is high quality. Like, it needs to be high quality like this, so we can recommend to our book club. We have a book club. This is going on our book club. We after November, we're going to be changing up, which books we're recommending. Right now we have books for politics up there for kids, but This is a very well made, nice quality book. So I want to congratulate you on everything, that even down to the illustrations, just are gorgeous, gorgeous. And people in there you would not necessarily expect or even know about necessarily. We don't know about, every single person or every person, some are familiar, but you know what I mean? But if there are people here, you're like, oh, I might have heard that name. So that is perfect. So where can we get this? Is this available on Amazon or where can we get it? Barnes Noble?
Yes, thank you. You can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on our site, bsforblackbrilliance.com.
Okay.
And so, yes, please enjoy it. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the book was designed for us by us, right? And so all the hands that touch the book, which you can see inside of the book, we talk about are Black folk. Down to the font is a typography, which is the way that we write our font, is actually a very white led industry. This font is from a designer who makes fonts based on civil rights, 1960 civil rights movement signs. So that font comes from his replication of those. And then, of course, our illustrator, Kelly Marsh, who we love so much, a beautiful Black man from London, who does our graphics for us. And little known fact that we don't tell everybody. If you look at the pages, there's patterns on the pages.
Yes. Oh, yeah. In the background, look at it.
Those come from Kelly's mom's dresses. So one day he was sitting in his mom's closet. I don't know why he was doing illustrations in his mom's closet. That is a question that I need to ask him. He's like, what do you think about putting these on the backs of the pages? And I was like, absolutely, Kelly. Yes, let's put your mom's, like the prints of your mom's dresses on the back to honor her work and the work that she did to hold up her illustration. So there's all sorts of stories in there about the Black hands that made the book. And we're proud to be representing them all.
Well, the font thing, I didn't know. That was fascinating by itself. So Kelly and his mom dresses, she had some stylish dresses there. Those are some great patterns. Right. No, thank you for sharing that information. Now we're running out of time, unfortunately, but I just want to recap on the village and stress. Let's just go back to that because let's go back to just recapping what practical steps parents can take to strengthen their village, ensure those ties last, and to reduce stress. Break it down to 1, 2, 3, what they can do.
Yes. First things first, get to know yourself. We did an exercise earlier in this conversation of just taking a deep breath, reminding yourself that you're brilliant. So first things first, it's got to come from you. And so you have to make sure that you understand who you are. The second piece is find the people that give you energy and that are doing what you are doing. And what you set out to do is fuel the next generation of Black and brilliant humans. Find those people. You can find them in our Legacy of Liberation community for sure. You can also find them in your lives. They're there and they exist. And then the third piece is nurture Black brilliance every single day in small ways, meaning that if you are in your car and a song comes on from a Black and brilliant human, have a conversation about that. Instead of trying to figure out all the things that you need to do, be present in the moment enough to say, did you know the stoplight was made by Garrett Morgan? Yes. Okay, let's talk about that. And that's enough, right? That fuels connection. It reinforces Black brilliance. And it takes you away from having to chase perfection and just being totally present. So those are 3 things that I would say are small and you can do tomorrow to try to start to shift. And then of course we had from one of our guests, take a walk, start to move, go outside, take deep breaths, do things that bring you joy and brilliance.
Well, that's fantastic. Oh my gosh. That's very helpful, guys. We have to learn to de-stress. And unfortunately, we can't all have a masseuse. We can't all go to the spa when we're stressed. But we can, take a walk, do some of those exercises that you talked about so that we can relax, take some deep breaths before we speak to the kids, because though we're having a hard time, we try not to pass that on to them, right? Mm-hmm. So take a deep breath, pause, and then keep moving and take care of yourself. Find 5 minutes to take care of yourself at the minimum, Shawna, I want to thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun. Thank you for laughing with me and for being part of my community today. So I really appreciate it.
Well, we do too. So, I want to give everyone a big shout out To all of you guys tuning in and engaging with us here at BACKtalk by Successful Black Parenting Magazine, don't forget we have a website. Even though we have this syndicated podcast that is a must, by the way, for Black parents everywhere, check out our website at successfulblackparenting.com. We'll be back next week as well. But next week, just so you know, we will be next Thursday, we'll be live, but at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the beginning of the year, we're going to go to an 11 o'clock time. So we're trying it out next week to see how it works. So save that time and date and make sure you follow us on social media. You know, if you follow us, the more you engage, the more we all can thrive. It helps us out a lot. And until next time, I wish you all the best and much success. So take care and thank you again for listening. Bye-bye.